Welcome everyone to a special edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. I'm your host, Michael Vega, joined by my main man, Al Prizzuti, and our beautiful prop here, Billy Walsh. And we want to thank you. We're coming to you live here from Steel and Rye, one of our favorite haunts, where every Thursday morning we enjoy coffee, pastry, and camaraderie. And we talk everything sports. And really, the genesis of this show is that gathering that we usually had, but we're happy to be here at Steel and Rye, our home base. And as I mentioned to the owner, Dan Kerrigan, when they opened, I said, Dan, June 18th, 2024 will be a day like no other, because I woke up and I knew all was right in the world, because the Celtics were NBA champions and Steel and Rye was back open for business. And they've reopened here, grand reopening, after an 8-week hiatus while they recoup from kitchen fire. So we're glad that they're here. We're enjoying their pastries again. But boy, for 8 weeks, Al, I felt like we're nomads, nowhere to go for the, we were searching for places to go. And it was unbelievable, but happy to be back. So much to discuss, Al, sports-wise. We can talk a little bit about what's going on here too, but unbelievable in just the span of a week, all that has taken place, with the Red Sox All-Star game. You had Jarren Duran representing the Sox extremely well, going out there, 2-run homer to put the American League on top. And as that ball sailed out of the park there, down at Globe Life in Arlington, I said to myself, there's your MVP. Did you think that?
Well, it was the first at bat. So the kid has actually become a terrific ball player.
Oh, yeah.
2 years ago, if you looked at this kid,
he was going to get run out of town on a rail.
The player he is today.
Yeah.
But, in looking at some of the statistics of the Red Sox, the kid is hitting 293, I think it's 292 or something like that. He's got, I'm just going to look at that. He's got 13 home runs.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable, really, because he's got 30 doubles, 12 triples,
unbelievable,
51 RBIs. So the question I think that people are going to begin to ask is Jarren Duran the most valuable player on the Red Sox, or is it Devers? Devers hits for more power. They both bat the same. They lock in about the same runs, but Jarren Duran does things that nobody else can do.
I think you're absolutely right,
The
Al.
speed is unbelievable. He's become a better center fielder. So I would say he's the most improved. If you like, the Bruins have the most improved player, I think that Jarren Duran is the most improved player on the Red Sox. The surprise to me is also O'Neill, because he's got 20 home runs. When
power.
This kid hits,
Whoa.
I mean,
a pair of homers out over in Colorado in this recent series, and the two homers combined for 902 feet, including a 460-foot solo shot.
I mean, there's no question when he hits the ball.
Oh my God, it's no doubts.
I mean, because he doesn't even have to run down to first base. He looks and he knows it's going to be a home run.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's kind of interesting in a way, because this is kind of a bad sign for him, is he strikes out 38% of the time.
Right.
So that's a lot. Most of these guys are in the 20, 25, 27% strikeout rate.
And it's
38's a lot.
It's interesting, Al. Now we've seen this Red Sox team kind of transform before our very eyes from a team that we weren't sure was even going to be in contention by the All-Star break to a team that surprised and exceeded all expectations with breakout performances from Jarren Duran, some decent pitching performances but they still are in need of a right-handed bat and another arm in that rotation, because those are two glaring needs. And the question really before Sox brass, as they approach the All-Star break, was, will they improve and upgrade this team, or are they going to stand pat? You know, because of whether or not they believe that this team can get there. I think now with the signing of Alex Cora to a 3-year extension, $21.75 million, the second richest in Major League Baseball, they have cast their lot and said, we're going to improve this team. Well, and I'm happy to see that.
Well, I look at the Red Sox and I say, nobody thought they were going to be as good, but nobody thought the Orioles and the Yankees were going to be as bad.
Right.
I mean, if you look at them, the Red Sox are just third behind the Orioles and the Yankees, but both of them are playing 500 or so baseball in the last 10 games. So which gives everybody an opportunity to either move up or slide down a little.
Yeah.
But I look at the Red Sox and I say, fine, I think if they win 85 to 90 games, that's going to be a good season.
It's doable.
For them.
You know, and here's the thing to me, Al, is that they're not treading water. They're above 500, well above 500.
Yeah.
And, you know, they go on a 4-game heater. You know, now they gain some separation from the other teams that they're competing with in the AL wild card. But, you know, the thing that I'm interested to see is who's out there.
Yeah, well.
And Chad Finn from the Globe wrote an interesting column suggesting 2 guys that they ought to go back to, were guys that they're very familiar with, and I think would make would create an unbelievable buzz here in this town, is if they went out and acquired Nathan Eovaldi and Justin Turner. That would solve everything for them right there.
Well, it wouldn't solve everything, but it would be a big help to have another solid. One thing about Nate Eovaldi, he throws a lot of innings. So you get a guy, you don't have to have as many guys in the bullpen. I would contend, though, that they need a closer, because they lost 2 games last week. They should have won both of them, and the bullpen couldn't hold it for them. So it's a roller coaster. Sometimes the starting pitching's up here, then it goes down here, and the relief pitching does the same thing. They need to somehow stabilize that.
Yes.
Where they know that the guy who comes in the 8th inning can get you to the closer. And right now, it's a question.
It is a question. It's a big hole. And then, you know, they go to Coors Field without their closer, Kenley Jansen, who was, you know, has this heart condition, an arrhythmia, I believe, that prevents him from getting there because the altitude affects him. And it seemed to affect Nick Pivetta in the series finale. They roughed him up pretty good. Sox lose 20-7. Now they open a weekend series against the Yankees, who also got walloped by the New York Mets. So both teams come into this weekend series having lost by a combined 22 runs in their last game.
The Sox have a tougher second half schedule than they did in the first half. So they're going to have to play good baseball at home against teams that are in front of them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think everybody is happy with the team. I mean, you got guys like Rafael, who's better than I thought he was at the start of the season. I mean, he can play shortstop, he can play center field, he can hit for power. He doesn't look like a big guy.
Right.
Connor Wong is another surprise. I mean, he's been a decent ball player for this team. He's a good catcher. He hasn't made a lot of errors. If you look at the errors, though, it's kind of interesting.
It seemed like they came in bunches yesterday, Al.
Yeah,
you know?
well, you've got guys like Rafaela's made 10, more than anybody on the team. But then you've got Hamilton had 7, Devers had 6, Abreu's got 5. So that's not all that bad.
No.
The 10 is a lot.
Yeah.
But Devers has improved his fielding. And, I'm happy to see he's up in the 290 range on batting average. He's not a great hitter. He's a 280, 290 career hitter.
Yes.
And, when you look at some of the stats, and I suffer because I look at the old timers. When you see somebody like Williams Ted, who had a 344 lifetime batting average, 344 with 521 home runs.
Right.
That's an incredible number in today's market. Now, you could argue that the pitching's changed.
Pitching has changed, Al.
Everything has changed.
It would be a skewed sample, but yeah, I mean, it's definite. definitely hitters dominated back then. And
anyway,
so
so
it will be interesting to see how the Sox come out of the All-Star break, headed into the trading deadline, and who they acquire. But the other interesting thing of note is Patriots opening up training camp down at Foxborough, Al.
you know, I think it's funny in that Jacoby Brissett is the guy they're saying is going to be the starting quarterback, and yet this kid May, from what I read and what I'm hearing, is not only can throw the ball long, but he's got an accurate arm.
Yeah.
So now Jared's going to have a problem here, saying if Brissett starts the season and they go 0-2, 0-3, you're going to see this May come in. The other thing is, you know, Judon hasn't signed a contract.
Right.
That's a problem.
Right.
He's the best defensive player that they have.
And they need to sign him.
And they need to sign somebody like that. So
they need to sign him. They need to sign, Devon Godchild, but they committed a lot of money, $92 million, to the Christian Barmore, who's I think a difference maker he's a difference maker. But and then you remember they're going to be getting Christian Gonzalez back in their corner position.
Well, they got two guys that are doing very well in their preseason and all that stuff. That Jalen Hawkins, who's a defensive back, incidentally, and he was the I think the 26th pick.
Yeah.
And then Javon Baker, who's a wide receiver, he was a 4th round pick, incidentally. And he's looked very good.
But do they really have a number one right now in your mind? They don't. No. And I'll tell you what, there's a guy out there right now who's not happy with his contract status. He's demanded a trade, and I think the Patriots should move heaven and earth to try and get him, and that's Brandon Ayuk from the 49ers. Can you imagine him in that group? No. I mean, you give May or Brissett or even whoever is a quarterback a chance with a guy like that.
Well, I checked my checking account and I'm down in money, so I'm going to bet you that they're going to be
without a number one this year.
They're going to be 9-8. How many games are they playing now?
Wow, you're already calling. You're already calling it 17. Yeah, 9-8.
17.
Yeah,
I'd say best 9-8.
Wow, that's kind of a middling team. Then do they make the playoffs? Because 9 games could do it. 10 definitely would.
But I don't know. Not in that division, I don't think.
Yeah, it's going to, well, you never know. The division may come back to them.
Yeah, well,
they may come back to them.
But it's kind
of
interesting.
I think the Bills are going to be coming back to them.
I think the
Jets. And I think the Jets may,
the Jets
may
got
implode with Aaron Rodgers now.
Oh, wow.
But you know what's out? It was interesting watching Hard Knocks, the offseason with the Giants, and all the machinations. It was really interesting. And the front office moves that they made, they were really, really grinding on the decision whether or not to sign Saquon Barkley. And that what really killed him was when he went and signed with the Eagles, which is a division rival. But then they were working out all these quarterbacks, and they were sold on Jaden Daniels. And it was funny, they showed Drake May at the board there. And he was like, and they showed him like going through his cadence, going through the board, and I'm like, oh, wow, this kid's sharp. We haven't seen that from the kid. And to the point you were making about the quarterbacks and whether they're going to, compete.
Two unproven quarterbacks that are going to try to get you to the playoffs. It's going to be a tough run. And a new coach. Now, Mayo is doing something that Belichick liked to do occasionally, but he's doing it more for a different reason, and that's he's allowing music.
Oh, yeah. I think they did that.
He's saying that the music helps the players to feel a community.
Yeah.
And Belichick only said he liked the music because it made them understand that when you're playing against a team away from home, that they're booing you and yelling.
Distractions.
And it's a distraction.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they have both said that they could use music, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's a new day now with Gerard Mayo, the new coach. The whole franchise is kind of doing a reset. And it was interesting in his first press conference with the media. I guess he borrowed a line from Jim Nantz when he said, "Hello, friends." So it was interesting. And then he invited media scrutiny because he says, "You know what? I don't know everything." And this was kind of a refreshing transparency, is that I don't know everything. He's a first-year head coach. He says, "I'm going to make mistakes. In fact, I know I'm going to make mistakes." He says, "But if I ever do something that's questionable, feel free to rip me, he said to the media.
Oh, they'll rip them.
Oh, they will. They will. And they will. But you know what, though? I think that's accountable. He's accountable.
Well,
He will be accountable. And there are many questionable decisions that Belichick had made that he never really owned up to.
well, I don't know. You know what?
And he just said, well, I thought it was in the best interest of our team to win. So
I think that the real thing with Mayo is he going to be able to handle when the team isn't playing well. Can he handle the press? Because they're relentless, and they were. And some guys like Belichick just was stoic. He never answered the questions.
And you know what? It's funny. Now Belichick's a member of the media.
Yeah, well, he's also got a 23-year-old girlfriend, so he don't care anymore
who knows?
about the Patriots. I wouldn't either. So,
Well,
anyways.
Kyle Shanahan made an offer for him to come aboard their
saw
team, and
that.
he says
Yeah,
no.
he said no.
He's waiting for a head coaching job to open up, but we'll see what happens there.
Anyways.
It'll be interesting, as they get closer. Who gets more reps at quarterback? Who emerges as that number one receiver? That tight end. I think the running back situation is going to be well in hand with Ramondre Stevenson having signed an extension.
He's the guy.
He's going to be a good ad there, obviously.
People forget he ran for over 1,000 yards 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
When he's healthy, he's a bigger kid than you think too. He's like 250 pounds.
Yeah.
He's a tough kid.
Well, the other big exciting thing that's happening this week and this month, the Summer Olympics in Paris, the 2024 Olympic Games now come to the City of Lights. And I ask you, Al, what would have been like if the Hub had been the host of the 2024 Olympics, as we were thinking it might be? I mean, can you imagine what would have taken place in this city?
They would all
have problems with the MBTA.
Yeah, they'd all be in the Sumner Tunnel right now. All 5 million people.
Oh my God!
Come on.
Oh my God!
No, we wouldn't have been prepared to have the Olympics here. I mean, there's a lot of work that has to get done. If you look at Paris, the big question was on the swimming
in the
issues.
Seine.
The Seine
supposedly
was polluted.
Yeah.
And yet the mayor of Paris jumped in and was swimming in there, so to prove that it wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah.
I think the big things on the Olympics, you got Yannick Sinner on the tennis side.
Yeah, pulled out.
He pulled out because he has an injury. You got Coco Gauff, who's going to represent the United States over there, which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Well, you have LeBron James, who was selected to be a standard bearer, the flag bearer, along with Coco Gauff.
Well, let's talk about that. The basketball team almost lost to Sudan the other day.
Hey, did you watch that game?
Almost, I did. And they should have won. They were
Sudan.
well ahead. Sudan should have won that game.
Yeah.
And then they almost lost again to Germany. If it wasn't for LeBron James, they would have lost to Germany. So they're not going to be the odds-on. I think they're the odds-on favorite, but they're not going to be the overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, like they were like in '92 in Barcelona.
With the dream team. But anyways, it'll be interesting to watch because I think it's better.
What events are you going to be interested to see?
What, in the Summer Olympics?
Yeah.
I watch the Olympics, and it's hard because we don't see a lot of the European or the other countries, the South American countries.
Right.
So you don't know what athletes are really better. It reminds me a little of the boxing back in the day when Teofilo Stevenson
out of Cuba,
was a heavyweight, and he was a knockout puncher. Great. And Muhammad Ali won as a light heavyweight in 1960 in Rome.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a heavyweight then.
No.
So, you know what? I watch it. I like watching it. I won't watch certain things. I don't like this dancing in the pool and all that.
The synchronized swimming?
I hate that.
Come on, man.
That's not it.
What? I love synchronized swimming. But here's one I'm going to be watching. Men's gymnastics. And you know why? Because Massachusetts is going to have two participants. Stoughton's Frederick Richard is going to be leading the men, and then you have Stephen Nedorosik from Worcester, who will be a part of that team. So potentially you have two guys who could win golds in their events, and one in Richard who could be the overall champion and help the Olympic men's team win gold. So it's going to be interesting to see that. I predict that in Boston and New England, the men's gymnastics is going to do huge numbers, ratings-wise.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love the beach volleyball and the volleyball.
Yeah,
I love
you know.
watching that. And then the basketball,
I
both
mean, the
men's and
basketball is
women's.
going to drive this country to watch the games.
Yeah.
That's the big sport.
Soccer, I think soccer will be.
You know, again,
women-
soccer's not a big sport in the United States yet.
Oh, Al, I disagree. I disagree.
No, it's
I
getting
disagree.
better.
It's gotten big.
Well, it's not anywhere
World Cup's
near
gonna be
what
coming
it
here
is in
now,
Europe
remember
and
that.
South America.
The World Cup will be coming
I
here
know,
now.
I know.
Yeah,
But
so it's going to be huge.
I mean, if you go to Europe, and I've been to England and Scotland, I've been to
Yes.
Italy. It's a religion.
it's a passion,
there.
very much so.
And the fans are really crazy.
Oh,
Where
no
in
doubt.
this country, people go because they like the game, and they haven't gotten into it yet, like they do in the other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Anyways, we should switch a little to golf. Xander
Schauffele
wins the British Open
And what,
convincingly.
in what conditions too?
I mean, convincingly he won. Now, if you think about it, he won the PGA Championship, so he's won 2 majors this year.
Who's that?
Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
And then you've got Scotty Scheffler, who's won 6 tournaments and also won 1 major. So if it comes down to who is the best, the most valuable player this year, my vote would go to Xander Schauffele.
Schauffele.
Because he also won the Olympics, you know.
And Al, it's the first time
Before.
in a long time that Americans have won all 4 majors.
I know.
So I think it maybe bodes well for the U.S. in the Olympics with Schauffele going for a gold there.
What makes it difficult for Americans to go overseas, like the British Open or the Scottish Open, is its link style. And they don't
Yeah.
have the same type of manicured fairways that we see in this country.
No.
So you have to learn to run the ball up as opposed to hitting the ball
And you're
high.
dealing with wind, you're dealing with rain, you're dealing with all those conditions
And they
too.
play in it.
Those guys were hitting driver off of par 3, though the wind was so bad.
It's an interesting thing, but you know what? I watched Schauffele, and his dad was the
Yeah.
guy behind him on this, and I was happy he won.
Yeah.
Very seldom do I really care
Solid
who
guy.
wins, but
Solid
I was
guy.
happy he won. So
But no, it was a wonderful thing to see for him, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out. It's going to be a jockey race for the player of the year, I think, you
Yeah.
know. But don't the players vote for that?
I don't know who votes. You know what? It'll be interesting because I think they're both very popular,
Yeah.
and I think that Scheffler's probably the odds-on favorite to win that because he's won 6 tournaments. He's in everything.
Right.
And it seems like Schauffele is not in everything, but he's won 2 big
ones.
majors.
He
So
yeah,
anyway,
you can't debate that.
you know, we got probably a little time left, and we should probably switch to the Bruins. It's kind of interesting what's going on there with that team.
Yeah, they're doing a reset too, Al,
So
aren't they?
their
With
proposed lines on the forward side are going to be Zaka, Elias Lindholm, and Pasternak on the first line. The second line is going to be Marchand, Coyle, and Morgan Geekie. Now, that can all change, obviously. The third
Charlie
line
Coyle?
is going to be Frederick, Poitras, and Brazeau.
what about
Now-
Coyle?
Well, Coyle's going to be on the second line. Marchand, Coyle, and Geekie on the
Okay.
second. The third line, Frederick, Poitras, and Brazeau. The interesting line, because this could become the third line, not the fourth line, is Max Jones. People don't realize how big this kid is.
Yes.
He's a big kid. He was with the Ducks. He was their first-round draft pick.
Was he 6'4", 230?
He's a big kid.
Yeah.
And you got Mac Jones, you got Beecher, who
Love-
can draw. He's
Yes.
a good drawer.
Yeah.
And then you got Fabian Lysell, who hopefully is ready. Now, you got this other kid, Kostilik, that they got from Ottawa
Yeah.
for Ullman. So I think they're fine, better up front than they were.
I
Now
think they
on-
got huge on defense too.
Oh, well, on defense, you got McAvoy and Lindstrom. You got Brandon Carlo and Loride. They look alike. They're
Oh.
both big. And then you've got this kid, Zadorov, who's a Russian, incidentally.
And big. What's he,
Big boy.
6'6"?
He's a big kid. And Peak. Peak's another big kid. So
Yeah.
they built some muscle and size on the
So, Al,
defensive
are we
side.
going to see the return of the big bad Bruins now?
Now, I think what you'll see, though, is the Bruins always got away from that. Then they get in the playoffs, and all the other teams would beat them up. Now they're going to have somebody during the season that can get them to the playoffs and then not get beat up.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting thing. But people forget that what a change this team. You've got Forbett gone, Grzelcyk gone, Maroon gone, Bostwick gone, Oscar Steen went back to Switzerland, DeBrusque gone, and Danton Heinen gone. Now Danton Heinen could be a problem. And Shattenkirk
and Van Riemsdyk.
Now both of them haven't signed with other teams yet, so they could ultimately
come back
with a 1-year deal like they did before.
Veterans.
Swayman hasn't signed his contract yet.
Well, he's got to get that done.
Well, they got to get it done. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to watch this team because on paper they're a better team.
Well, who becomes the backup to Swayman?
Well, you got two
That's
things.
That's going to be a big camp question, I think.
Capasalo was playing with a team that wasn't as good defensively. So I think with what's his name, the goalie coach, Esna, whatever his name, I forget
Bob
his
name.
Esna
Goalie Bob
can help him.
Yeah.
And I do believe that he won't play half and half. I think it's going to be 50 and 30. So 50 for Swayman, 30 for Capasalo.
Yeah.
But if he's not the guy, Boosie, they signed. So Boosie from Providence is a pretty decent player. I think that he could jump in if Corpusalo doesn't do the job. They're a better team on paper than they were last year, and they could have beat Florida. And Florida won the Cup.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, it's going to be interesting.
I remember even going back to when they played the Blues in the Stanley Cup.
I was in Italy when it happened.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, they come out and they wound up, trying to, get ahead in the series. And that one seminal moment when they had Torrey Krug get brutalized, and then he ran down the ice.
Hey, incidentally, Torrey Krug could be out all next season.
Wow.
He's got an arthritic knee.
Yeah.
And he could be out. He was a pretty decent player.
So the window now is going to be starting to close a little bit on Brad Marchand, I think, too. So
I don't know. I think you play him. You don't play him 26 minutes. You play him 18 to 20, 20 to 21 minutes. He's a terrific player still.
Yeah.
I think that the issue here for the Bruins is another sniper.
Yeah.
They got to get somebody, because the teams are just loading up on Pasternak, and when he's down low, everybody goes to Pasta.
Yeah.
And you know what? You got to have somebody else who can put the puck in the net consistently.
Yeah.
Another 40-goal scorer, not a 20-goal scorer, 40-goal scorer. So it'll be interesting.
Well,
I don't know.
It'll be interesting, Al, and
before
what a great. Well, we got a couple.
Are we
of
coming down
what
to
do
the
you got?
end
What do you
here?
got?
No, I just wanted
30 seconds here.
No, if we got 30 seconds, I'll hold off.
It'll be for next time then again. Well, I want to thank my main man, Al Prizzuti, Billy Walsh here, who joined us on the dais. And I want to thank everyone here at Milton Access TV for getting it done here. And of course, Steel and Rye for allowing us to tape here remotely. Dan Kerrigan, the owner, and all the employees and staff who we dearly love. And we love coming here every Thursday. Come on down. You can come join us, engage in some of this banter, have a couple pastries, a little iced coffee, and you can come say hi to Billy Walsh here, or Al, or myself. We'll be sitting right here, table 23, every Thursday morning. So come on by, and we love to see you. We love to chat with you. But thanks again to Steel and Rye for hosting us here at Stepping Up to the Plate. All righty, everybody, that'll do it. We'll see you next time. Take care.